My Aunt Claire raised her champagne glass and smiled at the assembled crowd. 80 people, maybe more, packed into the banquet hall for my cousin Jennifer's engagement party. White tablecloths, string lights, a dessert table that probably cost more than my monthly rent. And of course, Claire said, her voice carrying over the microphone, we have to acknowledge Rachel, who actually made it out tonight. We weren't sure you'd show up. You're usually too busy with, what is it you do again? Laughter rippled through the room. I was standing near the back, holding a glass of wine I hadn't touched, wearing the dress I'd bought specifically for this occasion. The navy one that was supposed to be appropriate. Professional but festive. I'm an accountant, I said quietly, though the microphone didn't pick it up. Claire continued as if I hadn't spoken. Well, whatever keeps you so occupied that you miss most family events. But Jennifer was determined to get you here, so here you are. Give her a round of applause for that miracle. More laughter. Louder this time. Jennifer, radiant in her white dress, laughed along with everyone else. She caught my eye across the room and gave me an exaggerated wave, like I was a celebrity who'd graced them with my presence. I smiled, raised my glass slightly in acknowledgement, and felt something inside me go very, very quiet. I hadn't missed most family events. I'd missed three events in the past 2 years. The first was my uncle's 60th birthday party, which fell on the same weekend I had to close the quarterly books for my largest client. I'd explained this weeks in advance. Sent a gift. Called to apologize. The second was Thanksgiving the year before, when I had the flu. Actual, documented flu. I'd texted the family group chat from my couch, where I'd spent 4 days sleeping and barely eating. The third was a summer barbecue I'd genuinely forgotten about because the invitation had been sent by a Facebook event, and I rarely checked Facebook. 3 events. But according to my family's collective memory, I was the one who was always too busy. Too important. Too caught up in my career to care about them. I'd been to Jennifer's bridal shower 3 months ago. I'd driven 2 hours each way, brought an expensive gift from her registry, stayed for the entire event even though I'd had to reschedule a client meeting. I'd been to my grandmother's 85th birthday party. I'd helped set up. I'd made the photo slideshow because no one else knew how. I'd been to my cousin David's graduation. My Aunt Susan's retirement party. Countless dinners and gatherings and celebrations. But I'd missed 3. And somehow, that became my defining characteristic. The engagement party continued around me. People mingled. The music got louder. Servers circulated with appetizers I couldn't taste because my throat felt tight. My mother found me near the dessert table. Rachel, honey, you're not leaving already, are you? Not yet. Good. Claire didn't mean anything by that comment, you know. She was just joking. I know. She's been so stressed with planning all this. Jennifer wanted everything perfect. I nodded. You do look nice, Mom added, like she was surprised. That dress is pretty. Thank you. Though maybe a bit formal? Everyone else is more casual. I looked around the room. At least half the women were wearing cocktail dresses. The invitation had said semi-formal. I'll keep that in mind, I said. Mom patted my arm and drifted away to talk to someone else. I stood there, holding my wine, watching my family laugh and celebrate, and felt like I was observing them through glass. Present but separate. Visible but unseen. Jennifer found me 20 minutes later. Rachel, you're being so quiet. Come take pictures with us. She pulled me toward a group of cousins clustered near a decorative arch covered in flowers. The photographer was already positioned, camera ready. Everyone squeeze in, Jennifer commanded. We arranged ourselves. I ended up in the back row, half hidden behind my taller cousins. Perfect, the photographer said, clicking away. Then Jennifer looked at the camera screen and frowned. Wait, Rachel, you're making a weird face. Can you smile more? I am smiling. Like, really smile. You look uncomfortable. I adjusted my expression. Showed more teeth. Better, Jennifer said, though she didn't sound convinced. We took several more photos. In each one, I was instructed to move slightly, adjust my posture, fix my hair, smile differently. No one else received notes. Finally, Jennifer seemed satisfied. Okay, got it. Thanks, everyone. The group dispersed immediately. I started to walk away, but Jennifer caught my arm. Hey, thanks for coming. I know you're super busy with work stuff. I'm not that busy. She laughed. Rachel, come on. Everyone knows you're married to your job. It's fine. We get it. I'm here, aren't I? You are. That's what I'm saying. I appreciate it. I know family stuff isn't really your priority. I stared at her. My cousin. The one I'd grown up with. The one whose homework I'd helped with in high school. Who'd called me crying when her first serious boyfriend broke up with her. Who I'd driven to the airport at 5 a.m. when her car broke down. Family is a priority, I said carefully. Sure, totally. I just mean, like, you're focused on your career. Which is great. Someone has to be the successful one, right? She squeezed my arm affectionately and walked away. Someone has to be the successful one. As if success and family were mutually exclusive. As if caring about work meant not caring about people. I made my way to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, and stood there for 5 minutes, just breathing. My father found me outside, getting air on the venue's patio. There you are. Your mother was looking for you. Just needed a minute. He nodded, leaning against the railing beside me. We stood in comfortable silence for a moment, looking out at the parking lot, the highway beyond it, the ordinary world continuing outside this celebration. Claire can be a bit much, he said finally. It's fine. No, it's not. That comment was unnecessary. I glanced at him, surprised. But you know how she is, he continued. She doesn't think before she speaks. Never has. She thought enough to make it a joke everyone would laugh at. He was quiet. Dad, do you think I'm absent? From the family? What? No. Of course not. Then why does everyone act like I am? He considered this. I think people remember what's convenient. You're busy. You have a demanding job. So when you can't make something, it stands out more. More than when other people can't make things? Maybe. I don't know. People are complicated. That's not an answer. No, he agreed. It's not. We stood there a while longer. Then he squeezed my shoulder. Don't let it ruin your night. But it already had. Dinner was served at 8. I was seated at a table near the back with cousins I barely knew and their spouses. The front tables, closest to Jennifer and her fiancé, were reserved for immediate family and close friends. I'd been at Jennifer's bridal shower. I'd been at her college graduation party. I'd helped her move into her first apartment. But I was at a back table with distant cousins. The woman next to me, someone's wife whose name I couldn't remember, made polite conversation. So, what do you do? I'm an accountant. Oh, that must be precise. It is. Jennifer was saying you work all the time. Like, crazy hours. I work normal hours. 40, maybe 50 a week during busy season. 50 hours. That's so much. It wasn't really. Not compared to what most professionals worked. But I just nodded. Do you have a boyfriend? No. Partner? No. That must be hard. With your schedule, I mean. My schedule is fine. She looked at me with something like pity. Well, you have your career. That's important too. I excused myself to the bathroom again. The speeches started during dessert. Jennifer's father spoke about her childhood. Her fiancé's parents welcomed her to their family. Jennifer's maid of honor told funny stories about college. Then Jennifer herself stood up, slightly tipsy, glowing with happiness. I just want to thank everyone for being here. This is literally the best night of my life, and having all of you here makes it perfect. She scanned the room, making eye contact with various tables. My parents, who've been so supportive. My sisters, who've been helping with everything. My friends, who've been there for me always. Her gaze swept past my table without pausing. And honestly, everyone here tonight, you're all so important to me. I can't imagine celebrating without you. General applause. Clinking glasses. I'd been at her bridal shower. I'd bought her a $300 gift from her registry. But I wasn't mentioned. If you've ever sat in a room full of people who are supposed to be your family and felt completely invisible, you'll understand why this moment mattered to me. It wasn't about wanting recognition. It was about realizing that to them, I was already barely there. At 9:30, I found Jennifer near the bar. Hey, I'm going to head out. What? Already? But we haven't even cut the cake yet. I have an early morning tomorrow. It's Saturday tomorrow. I know. I still have some work to catch up on. She rolled her eyes affectionately. Of course you do. Okay, well, thanks for coming. Congratulations. Really. I'm happy for you. Thanks, Rach. She hugged me quickly, already looking past me toward someone else. Drive safe. I collected my coat, slipped out through the side entrance, drove home in silence. In my apartment, I took off the navy dress, hung it carefully in my closet, and sat on my couch in the dark. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Did you leave? Without saying goodbye. I stared at the message. Without saying goodbye. I'd said goodbye to Jennifer. But apparently not to enough people. Not visibly enough. Not in the way that counted. I didn't respond. Another text, this time from my Aunt Claire. Sorry if I embarrassed you earlier. Just having fun. You know how parties are. Just having fun. You know how parties are. I turned my phone face down and went to bed. The next morning, I woke up to 17 messages in the family group chat. Photos from the party. Inside jokes. Someone asking if anyone had gotten extra cake. I scrolled through them all. Saw photos of myself in the background of several shots, barely visible, out of focus. There was one photo where I was more prominent. Someone had tagged it, even got Rachel to show up. Miracles do happen. 12 laughing emoji reactions. I left the group chat. Not dramatically. Just quietly. Clicked the exit group button and confirmed. No one noticed for 3 days. When they did notice, my mother called. Rachel, you left the family chat. I did. Why? I don't find it useful. Useful? It's not about being useful. It's about staying connected. I don't feel particularly connected. What's that supposed to mean? I could have listed everything. The comment at the party. The repeated jokes about my absence despite my presence. The back table. The lack of acknowledgement in Jennifer's speech. The pattern of being treated as an afterthought while being blamed for distance. Instead, I said, it means I'm taking a step back for a while. A step back from what? From family events. From expectations. From situations where I'm going to be made into a joke. Made into a joke? Rachel, no one was. Mom, Claire made fun of me in front of 80 people. And everyone laughed. Including you. Silence. That was just, she was being funny. She didn't mean anything by it. I'm sure she didn't. But it still happened. You're being too sensitive. Maybe. Rachel, you can't just withdraw from the family because your feelings got hurt. I'm not withdrawing. I'm choosing where I invest my energy. That sounds like withdrawing. Then I guess I'm withdrawing. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, your grandmother is going to be very disappointed. Grandma has never made me feel unwelcome. So it's everyone else? It's the pattern, Mom. I show up, and it's treated like a surprise. I miss something, and it's treated like a habit. I'm present, but I'm invisible. I'm family, but I'm punchline. That's not true. Isn't it? She didn't answer. I'm not angry, I said. I'm not making a statement. I'm just tired. And I'm going to focus on the relationships that feel mutual. This is about the party. This is about a lot more than the party. Jennifer was stressed. Planning a wedding is hard. I'm sure it is. And I'm sure my absence will make things easier for everyone. Rachel. I have to go, Mom. I'll call you later. I hung up before she could argue. I didn't call her later. 2 weeks passed. There was a family dinner I didn't attend. My mother texted asking where I was. I said I had plans. She asked what plans. I didn't respond. Another week. My cousin's baby shower invitation came via text. I replied that I wouldn't be able to make it. Sent a gift directly from Amazon. My Aunt Susan called. Rachel, honey, is everything okay? Your mother is worried. Everything's fine. She said you're not coming to family events anymore. I'm just busy right now. Too busy for family? There it was again. The accusation wrapped in concern. Susan, when was the last time you asked me about my life? Not my work. My actual life. She paused. We talk all the time. We make small talk at events. That's not the same thing. Well, if you don't come to events, how are we supposed to talk? You could call. You could text. You could ask me to coffee. I'm calling right now. Because my mother is worried. Not because you wanted to know how I'm doing. She was quiet. I'm fine, I said gently. I'm just creating some space. That's all. Space from what? From feeling like I don't matter unless I'm useful. Or funny. Or convenient. Rachel, no one thinks that. Maybe not intentionally. But it's how it feels. We talked for a few more minutes, going in circles. She wanted me to understand that family was important. I wanted her to understand that I already knew that. We didn't find common ground. My grandmother called on a Thursday evening. Rachel, darling. I haven't seen you in weeks. I know, Grandma. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Just tell me why. I sat down on my couch, phone pressed to my ear, and felt tears prick my eyes. I'm tired of being treated like I don't care. Who says you don't care? Everyone. In small ways. Constantly. She listened while I explained. The party. The comments. The pattern. The exhaustion of showing up and being told I was never there. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Your Aunt Claire has always been thoughtless, she said finally. Even as a child. She'd say whatever came to mind without considering how it landed. Everyone laughed, Grandma. People laugh at things that make them uncomfortable. It's easier than confronting why something isn't funny. I don't think they were uncomfortable. I think they agreed with her. Maybe some of them did. People are quick to judge what they don't understand. What don't they understand? That you've built a life. That you work hard. That you show up when you can, and it costs you something when you do. I hadn't thought about it that way. The cost of showing up. The rearranged schedules. The social energy I didn't have much of to begin with. The effort of being present in spaces that felt less and less like home. I don't want to stop being part of the family, I said. I just want to stop feeling bad about how I'm part of it. Then don't stop, Grandma said. Just change the terms. What do you mean? You can't control how they see you. But you can control how much power you give their perception. Come to things because you want to. Not because you're trying to prove something. What if I don't want to come to most things? Then don't. Real family will understand. Everyone else doesn't matter. I thought about that conversation for days. Real family will understand. I made a decision. A clear one. I would show up for Grandma. For my father. For the few cousins who'd actually maintain relationships with me beyond family events. Everyone else was optional. Not in anger. Not in punishment. Just an honest assessment of where my energy belonged. The next family event was my uncle's retirement party. 2 months after Jennifer's engagement party. I didn't go. My mother called the day after. You missed Mike's party. I did. Any particular reason? I had other plans. What plans? Does it matter? Yes, Rachel, it matters. People are starting to think you don't care about the family. Let them think that. Excuse me, Mom, I'm not interested in managing everyone's perception of me anymore. If they think I don't care, that says more about them than it does about me. That's a very selfish attitude. Maybe. Or maybe it's self-preservation. I don't understand when you became so cold. I'm not cold. I'm just done explaining myself to people who've already made up their minds. She hung up on me. I sat with my phone in my hand, waiting for the guilt to arrive. It didn't. 3 months passed. I went to Grandma's house for lunch. Just the two of us. We sat in her garden, ate sandwiches, talked about books and politics and everything except family drama. It was the best family time I'd had in years. I met my cousin James for coffee. He was one of the few who'd texted me individually after I left the group chat, asking if I was okay. We talked for 2 hours. Made plans to do it again. I had dinner with my father. He didn't ask why I wasn't coming to events. We talked about his woodworking projects and my work and the novel he was reading. These felt like real connections. Not performances. Jennifer's wedding was in November. The invitation came in the mail. Formal. Expensive cardstock. I RSVP'd no. My mother called immediately. You're not going to Jennifer's wedding? No. Rachel, it's her wedding. I know. You have to go. It's family. I sent a gift. A generous one. That's not the same as being there. Mom, I was at her engagement party, where I was publicly mocked. I was at her bridal shower, where I was barely acknowledged. I'm not interested in spending another day being the family punchline. No one thinks you're a punchline. Claire literally made me one. In front of everyone. And no one said anything. People are going to ask where you are. Tell them I was busy with work. That seems to be the accepted narrative anyway. This is ridiculous. This is self-respect. We argued for 20 minutes. She cried. She accused me of holding grudges. She said I was destroying the family. I stayed calm. I didn't raise my voice. I simply repeated, I'm not going. Eventually, she hung up. I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on my balcony, watching the sunset. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel vindictive. I just felt clear. The day of Jennifer's wedding, I went hiking. Drove an hour outside the city to a trail I'd been meaning to try. Spent 4 hours in the woods, just me and the trees and the sound of my own breathing. My phone stayed in my car. When I got back, I had 16 missed calls and 43 text messages. Most of them were from the family group chat I wasn't part of anymore. Someone had added me back in. The messages were all photos from the wedding. Lots of exclamation points. Lots of beautiful and perfect and best day ever. One message from Jennifer. Can't believe you missed this. Would have loved to have you here. Would have loved to have you here. Not, I missed you. Not, I wish you were here. Just a vague sentiment that required nothing from her. I removed myself from the group chat again. Blocked the ability to be re-added. Turned off my phone and went to bed. The calls and texts continued for a few days. Then they slowed. Then they stopped. I kept living my life. Working. Seeing friends. Dating occasionally. Building a life that felt like mine. Grandma had me over once a month. We never discussed the rest of the family unless she brought it up, and she rarely did. My father and I had dinner every few weeks. He never mentioned my absence from events. We just enjoyed each other's company. James and I became closer. Real friends, not just cousins who saw each other at obligatory gatherings. 6 months after Jennifer's wedding, I ran into Claire at a grocery store. Rachel. Oh my God, we never see you anymore. I've been around. Not at family stuff. No, not really. She looked uncomfortable. Is everything, are you okay? I'm fine. Your mom said you're just really busy with work. Of course she did. Something like that. Well, we miss you. You should come to Easter. It's at my house this year. I looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman who'd made me a joke. Who'd laughed along with everyone else. Who'd never once apologized or acknowledged how that felt. I don't think so, I said. But thank you for the invitation. Oh. Okay. Well, you know you're always welcome. I appreciate that. We stood there for an awkward moment. Then she said, that thing I said at Jennifer's party. About you never being around. That was just. I was just joking. You know that, right? I know you thought it was a joke. It was. I didn't mean anything by it. Claire, it doesn't matter whether you meant anything by it. It still hurt. She looked genuinely surprised. I had no idea. I know. If I'd known you were sensitive about that. I'm not sensitive. I'm human. There's a difference. She didn't know what to say to that. I should go, I said. Take care. I walked away before she could respond. A year passed. Then another. I built a life I didn't need to recover from. Relationships that felt reciprocal. Boundaries that felt healthy. My family learned to exist without me at every gathering. Some of them understood. Most of them didn't. A few of them were hurt. But I was no longer willing to set myself on fire to keep them warm. My mother and I talked occasionally. Surface-level conversations. She stopped asking when I'd come to events. Started asking about my life instead. Small progress. Jennifer sent me a birth announcement when her first child was born. I sent a gift. She texted thanks. That was the extent of our interaction. I didn't go to the baby shower. I didn't feel guilty about it. On a random Tuesday, 2 years after Jennifer's engagement party, my father called. Rachel, your grandmother wants to see you this weekend. Can you come by? Of course. Is everything okay? She's fine. Just wants to see you. I drove over on Saturday afternoon. Grandma was in her garden, as usual, pruning roses. There's my girl, she said, smiling. We hugged. Settled into her patio chairs with iced tea. I want to tell you something, she said. Okay. I'm proud of you. I blinked, surprised. For what? For knowing your worth. For not accepting less than you deserve. Even from family. Some people think I abandoned them. Some people think a lot of foolish things. You didn't abandon anyone. You just stopped volunteering for your own diminishment. I felt tears sting my eyes. It was hard. The right things usually are. Do you think I did the right thing? I think you did the necessary thing. Which is better. We sat in comfortable silence, listening to birds, feeling the sun on our faces. You know, Grandma said eventually, real love doesn't require you to tolerate disrespect. Real family doesn't make you prove your worth over and over. Real belonging feels like rest, not performance. I wish I'd understood that sooner. You understand it now. That's what matters. I think about that engagement party sometimes. The moment Claire raised her glass and made me the joke. The laughter that followed. The way I stood there, smiling, absorbing it. I think about how I left quietly. How I didn't make a scene. How I simply decided I was done. People expect dramatic exits. Angry confrontations. Burning bridges with memorable speeches. But sometimes the strongest thing you can do is just stop showing up. Stop explaining yourself to people who've decided not to understand. Stop performing for an audience that's already written your character. Stop trying to prove you belong in spaces that treat your presence as optional. I didn't leave my family. I left the version of family that required me to be smaller, quieter, less important than I was. The people who mattered came with me. The ones who didn't stayed behind. And I learned that sometimes, walking away doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're finally choosing yourself. If stories like this feel familiar, you're not alone. There are more stories like mine here. About the moments when you realize you've been performing your whole life. About the quiet decision to stop. About finding out who actually notices when you're gone. You don't owe anyone your presence. Not even family. Especially not family that makes you feel like you have to earn the right to be respected.